right. So, what are three words that come to mind when you think of Asian food? Rice, chopsticks, soy sauce. Yes, all of those really, really good things. Well, here in America, we have the privilege of being a melting pot of so many different cultures and traditions and really good food and really cool things that go along with the food. Because we have this privilege, we also have the unique ability to put some of these cultural traditions into practice. But there is a problem in America that too often we tend to set aside those cultural things of other countries to be very American. And then we don't get to enjoy what some other cultures get to enjoy. Today I want to talk to you about chopsticks. Chopsticks are very, very important in the Asian culture, especially in relation to food. According to Wikipedia, some of the history of chopsticks. Chopsticks were first found in China during the Shang Dynasty. The earliest chopsticks were made of bronze, and they dated back to 1200 BC. China, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam have long used chopsticks as their traditional eating utensil. The use of chopsticks then spread to other Asian cultures who had originally they would just eat with their hands, but as the Chinese began to immigrate into those countries, they began to use chopsticks more often. So, as I said before, there is a problem in America with Chinese food, Asian food, and chopsticks. And I want to talk to you about some of the reasons why people perhaps neglect the use of chopsticks when they're eating Asian food. And I want to show you three reasons why we should use chopsticks when we eat Asian food. First of all, the food is going to taste better if you use chopsticks. It's a fact. Secondly, eating with chopsticks is going to hinder overeating. And thirdly, eating with chopsticks is respectful of Asian culture. So to start off, the food is going to taste better when you eat with chopsticks. Now this might seem like kind of a subjective point, but if you think about it, think about a time when you're going to go out to eat and you get really nicely dressed up and you feel really happy or just really good about yourself or whatever you're doing. And no matter what you eat, I mean, you could be going to McDonald's and eating, but you feel good about you're happy, and so the food probably is going to taste better. Well, the same logic applies to Asian food. According to Johns Hopkins research, Alexander Johnson writes that if you have to expend more effort to get a certain food, not only will you value that food more, but it probably will taste better to you. At present, we don't know why this effort seems to boost the taste of food, but we know that it does. Also, another website, the Global Gourmet website, said that even if you're not familiar using chopsticks, dining at a Japanese or other Asian restaurant may present a challenge. But once you master the technique, eating with this simple instrument is a genuine pleasure. It's a pleasure because you have to put some effort into eating it. It's not as easy to take the fork and just shovel it into your mouth. When you have to use chopsticks, you have to use a little bit more effort. But in order to enjoy it, you have to know how to use the chopsticks. So there's four basic steps to using chopsticks. First of all, you take the first chopstick and you hold it in your hand between your long finger and your thumb, and this chopstick is going to be held steady. You take your second chopstick and you hold it with your index finger and your thumb, and this is the one that moves. I saw a video that said usually you should have your fingers up higher on the chopsticks, not way down here, because then you can't do it very well, and then it gets all tangled up back there, and then you're kind of like this, and you can't really eat very well. Doing the work of eating with chopsticks is going to help you savor the flavors of the Orient much better. So secondly, eating with chopsticks is going to hinder overeating, especially when you're at that really good Chinese buffet and you're tempted to go back for seconds and thirds and fourths And fifths, if you're eating with chopsticks, you have to eat slower because it takes longer. If anybody has eaten with chopsticks, you know it just takes longer. You're able to enjoy the food more because you can eat slower and in smaller portions. According to Megan Smith, who wrote for Livestrong.com, she said that in a list of tips for weight loss, one of the tips was to eat with chopsticks. And she said that even if you are a chopsticks expert, you're likely to eat slower with them than you would with a fork or a spoon. So you want to get out of the habit of shoveling the food into your mouth and instead focus on picking up and eating small bites with your chopsticks. Another author, Kamiko Barber, who wrote a book called The Chopsticks Diet, she said that in Japan, food is served in smaller portions and is designed to be eaten with chopsticks, which purposefully slow you down so that you eat less. So, eating with chopsticks, first of all, was good because it will make the food taste better, and secondly, it hinders overeating. Nobody likes to overeat. My third point for why you should eat Asian food with chopsticks is because eating with chopsticks is respectful in Asian culture. Like I said before, the chopsticks are a very traditional eating utensil in Asian cultures. But as in every other culture, there are also lists of things that you should do and that you shouldn't do. So just to say eating with chopsticks is going to be respectful isn't necessarily true if you don't do it right or if you don't pay attention to some of the cultural things that work in the different countries. First of all, there's 3 reasons, and they're up here, of things that you should not do with your chopsticks. First of all, you must not use your chopsticks as a skewer. And I know it is so easy to just like stab your chicken and eat it, but that's not proper in Asian culture. In Asian countries, the chefs take extra care to prepare the very delicate and intricate foods like sushi. And when you spear it or stab it, this is considered very disgraceful and unrespectful to the chef. Your chopstick is not a sword, and your food is not to be treated like a kebab. Secondly, do not stick your chopsticks straight up in a bowl of rice. This I thought was very interesting. This actually, if you stick them straight up in a bowl of rice, is something that symbolizes death. And this is something that people do at funerals in Asian cultures. So don't ever do that. And thirdly, don't ever use your chopsticks to gesture like tapping the side of your glass. This is very alarming to most Asians. The chopsticks in Asian cultures are supposed to be kept very clean because they go into your mouth. So your chopsticks are supposed to be kept out in plain sight and away from dirt or things that could get them dirty. That just shows respect for the purpose of chopsticks. So, what can you expect the next time you go to an Asian restaurant and you choose to use chopsticks? Well, first of all, your food is definitely going to taste better because you've put some effort into eating it with your chopsticks. Secondly, you're not going to be so full after you leave that Chinese buffet because you've had to eat slower and had to savor the food more. And finally, you will also be respecting the people around you and perhaps the owners of the restaurant. So, in conclusion, we have the 3 reasons why I believe that everyone should eat Asian food with chopsticks. So, the next time all of you guys go to an Asian restaurant, don't grab for the fork and knife, but instead reach for the chopsticks and enjoy your food to the fullest. Thank you.